You're listening to Workplace Weekly, covering workplaces and labor activism and trying to have a remotely decent time doing it. Call us Craig David calls, we are born to do it. Let's do this thing.
I like it.
Welcome to another episode of Workplace Weekly. We are 4 episodes down.
4 episodes. This is episode 5.
Oh.
Can you believe 4 in the can?
I can't. No, it's all gone so fast.
I know. Did we do that? Yeah.
Hard to say.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
How have you found it so far, Fanny?
I've found it immensely interesting. Sometimes I feel totally out of my depth and intimidating, but super amazing experience, and I feel smarter already.
I definitely feel that we've learned so much in just a short period of time, and I hope that's translating to the audience. And I think from my side as well, Fanny and I haven't had a chance to work on a creative project outside.
That's like fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
And that we can, kind of do different things. And I think that's also been a really nice experience, going week to week and making changes, making adjustments, and just kind of like finding our feet. Because I think the more we produce the show, the more I'm like, this show needs to exist.
Yeah.
There needs to be something out there that is covering serious stuff, but also trying to do it in a way that people can take the information and immediately make the comparison in their life.
Yeah.
So today's episode is going to be focused on segments mostly. We've got our Workplace Savage, and we're going to also have our very first pop culture case study. You went absolutely, down to the wire on the Pedro Pascal situation. And this is because we've been working on a really intense project, and that project is Right the Ship. And that's going to be coming up for the next 2 episodes, replacing actually Workplace Weekly. It's not officially Workplace Weekly. This is Right the Ship. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what we're doing with Right the Ship?
Yeah. We are producing a podcast. This will be devoted to a federal whistleblower
in the United States.
Commander Kimberly Young McClear. Very, very admirable person. And I think her story is incredibly important and pertinent. And we don't talk about whistleblowers enough. And more importantly, we don't talk about what happens to them after they blow the whistle.
Yeah. And the ramifications that has for society. I think whistleblowers have been sort of this abstract presence in our world, but actually there are very real world consequences. So we're really excited to bring you that production in the next 2 weeks in place of Workplace Weekly. But
for now,
we love our fun here. We love our fun. And I don't think I've ever told you or anyone this, Fanny, but one of my passions in life is developing games.
Yeah.
Any kind of games. Like I've got just a back catalog of games that I play. Like there's a game called Lowest Price, which is a fantastic game.
I think everyone should know that one time KB showed up to a birthday dinner of mine with my friends, and she just brought a bunch of cards for the dinner table. They loved it, but yeah, such a reflection of how much you like games.
I do. I just think that because, if you go out to dinner with friends and stuff like that, of course you can have awesome conversations. They were new people though. I didn't know them. And so it was super nice to kind of break the ice, but also you get to know even your partner and yourself. The questions were really not what I was expecting. So games bring out something kind of primal in people, and I love that. Speaking of, we have a very exciting new game show segment, and this one in particular is called Who Wants to Be a Forgiven? Roll it, Amanda. That's right. We are going to be discussing naughty CEOs and their apologies, because Fanny, do you love a good CEO apology?
Yes. Fuck yes, I do. Good one.
Yeah, good one. I mean, have you seen some in your time that you've just thought, fuck, that's a miss, hey?
Yes. Yeah. And those are fun too, but in a completely different way.
I think it's quite interesting because when it comes to the CEO apology, in the middle of a public crisis, it can kind of be a huge leverage.
Yeah.
To the activist advocate side of things.
It's a make or break moment for sure. Every time.
Yes. Yes. There's also been a lot of talk about AI replacing us, taking our jobs. I, for one...
It's me every day I meet up with you, but yeah.
She does bring it up every day we meet up. If AI could replace anyone or anything, I'd fucking love for it to be CEOs that don't have a clue. I developed this concept, and Who Wants to Be Forgiven is the game where we've selected 2 scenarios to play the game with to kick this off. Then we've both gone off and provided a prompt based on the vibes of that quote to AI, and AI has generated an apology. So the game goes, we read out both of these statements, and each of us has to guess which one is the real CEO and which one is AI. And I think like it should almost be like, which is the best statement? Like which actually does the best?
Yeah.
Bonus points are available in this game. The bonus point is available if you feel that you can identify either the statement maker or who the statement was inspired by.
Okay.
So like you can take a shot in the dark and get those magic points. It's up to you. Then I guess at the end we just like stack up the score and figure out who's a better apologizer, naughty CEOs or AI. Boom. Let's find out. With that, I think we need Amanda to roll once again the beautiful Who Wants to Be Forgiven theme.
All right, first up, we have Dear Everyone. It's been 3 years since we launched a beer for women and called it Feminism. We'd like to apologize for the naming and branding of the product. We know now that it was a mistake to use the term feminism without any impact for the groups who should have been benefiting from the project. Only men capitalized off of this product. It is inexcusable that we avoided valid questions, blocked critics, and gatekept the conversation. We understand now that this was an ignorant and thoughtless way to approach this project. We are sorry for the hurt and confusion it caused. We fucked up. All right. Second version.
Okay.
We fucked up. This statement is way overdue. However, it's high time that we acknowledge and address the criticism of our project in 2018 that's resurfaced around the current discussions of sexism in craft beer. We're writing this today to acknowledge the fuck up and poor handling of the female beer project we did in 2018 and the frustration and hurt that our actions and inactions caused as a result. We're sorry. We apologize for the lazy and tone-deaf name and branding of the product and the fact that no impact was built into the project for the groups who should have been centered and celebrated by it. We recognize how the name and branding can have harmed women, trans, and non-binary people's right to be taken seriously in the industry and elsewhere and perpetuate sexist tropes. We apologize to all the signatories of the open letter and its author. We apologize to people within the craft beer industry and beyond. There's no excuse. It shouldn't have happened because we should have known better, and we're sincerely sorry. What you think?
Dun, 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 dun,
Is that Jeopardy?
dun. It is. First of all, I think the first statement was kind of better. 100%. But I believe, and I'm going for extra points, that this was the Girls Are Awesome statement in response to the Femme Ale beer, a subject near and dear to my heart. I can't really claim a point here because I do know that, but I think it was the second one that was real, and it was by Girls Are Awesome.
You are completely correct. And I agree with you. The AI one is actually a better apology.
It is genuinely a better apology. It's, I think the tone.
Blunt.
It's blunt, and also like the tone is not trying to drip with cool. Like it feels like they were trying to like preserve some sort of coolness in that second statement.
Yeah.
I love that we're now comparing them like as equals.
I'm just like, what can I say? I mean, I put this into the AI and I reacted the same way as you. I thought it was much better and more interestingly, I mean, this is a company that's 6 months later just fell off the grid.
They did. They closed. Yeah. Orkies. Guess the real apology didn't work.
Anyways. Are you ready for my second one?
Yes, I am. Hit me.
All right. I don't think you're going to get the bonus, but it's okay. Team, this has been a difficult week for our company. For those of you who were not able to attend our town hall discussion today, I wanted to share what we discussed. The way I communicated layoffs distracted from our number one priority, showing care for the employees we laid off and demonstrating the grace, respect, and appreciation they and all of you deserve. There are a number of things I would do differently if I could. The quote I included from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was inappropriate and insensitive. I should have been more upfront about the layoffs in the email, more thoughtful about my tone, and more concise. I'm sorry. Many of you have reached out to me this week with feedback, questions, and support. Thank you. I should note that this is from January of this year.
Wow. Wow.
January, so like...
Because all I know is that a white person definitely evoked Martin Luther King and like...
Right before Black History Month.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah. Anyways, next one. Dear employees, this week has been difficult for all of us as we have had to make the difficult decision to lay off 7% of our company. I know that this news has been heartbreaking for those affected and for their families. I want to express my sincerest apologies for sending such a long email that included a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. While I believe that this quote is an important reminder of what makes a great leader, I understand how it could have been seen as insensitive or inappropriate in this situation. I want to reiterate that our number one priority remains the same: to show care, grace, and respect for our employees who have been laid off. We understand that this is a difficult time for everyone, and we are committed to helping those affected through this transition with compassion and support. Again, I am sorry for the way this message was delivered. Sincerely. What you think?
Woo! I feel...
Do you want to hear the quote? Like, just for the hell of it?
Yeah.
Cool. So, like, imagine you get a 1,700 word email from your boss.
Bro. Bruh.
Letting you know, without flat out saying layoffs or people are getting fired, but pretty much letting you know that almost 10% of the workforce is being let go. That includes in the email. I am reminded in moments like this of something Martin Luther King said, that the ultimate measure of a leader is not where they stand in the moments of comfort and convenience, but where they stand in times of challenge and controversy.
That's so insulting.
Right? I'm insulted now.
Yeah, because like knowing the use of it, I mean, immediately I was just like, this is completely wrong, and you can tell a white person is using this quote, but to use it in such a like facetious way, to kind of like reassure people in a time of crisis is just insulting to the person who said it and to the people hearing it. Wow. I'm torn. So I'm going to lock in my answer, but I want to provide my rationale first, because I think I might be, maybe, if I get it right, it's because of this reason. And that is, I'm choosing this one because it sounded more defensive. While they sounded completely similar, this one sounded a little more defensive to me. So it's either a compliment to AI or like a total shit on humanity as we know it. So statement 2 is AI.
You're right.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Shit! You've just won $1 million.
Yeah, boom.
In Monopoly money.
I don't know who it is though.
So, oh my God, I don't even remember now. I think it's called PagerDuty. It is a tech company in California. So again, 2023, California tech company. You know, it's people of color are amongst those getting laid off.
Naturally.
I'm not sure that their CEO, it's a woman. I don't know if she's white. She's white presenting. But yeah, hard to say.
In terms of a format moving forward, if you've got a great apology...
Oh my God, send us that shit.
Send us that shit.
I will also just defend. I think we're just really good at this game.
We are very good at this game. We are very good at this game.
Come play.
That we made and designed the rules of, and that we have both won. Oh my God, what is this? Like a fucking... The way we've set this up, the way we've rigged this, is how men get through life.
Yeah.
Like this is how they build their little companies. So we're winners because we say we are.
Yeah.
In the interim, please enjoy an interview-free episode of Workplace Weekly and our Workplace Savage and our pop culture red carpet. Anything else to add, Fanwa?
No, that's it for today on Who Wants to Be a Forgiven.
She's nailed it. Who wants to be a forgiven? So I was just about to say, we don't have a name for the segment, but I was just going to be like, oh, fuck it, it's a pop culture
segment. No, we'll think of something better.
Yeah, we'll think of, if anyone has any ideas of what we can call this, this is Pop Culture Workplace for now. Welcome to Pop Culture Workplace, the segment on Workplace Weekly where we get deep into the pop culture moments that surround our days or are more likely in those misery rectangles we call our phones.
Yeah.
All the stuff that we find that we can break down for you guys, hopefully in an interesting way. Fanny, You're coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
You got something?
Yeah.
Tell us.
Like so many others on this planet, I have newly started to appreciate Pedro Pascal.
Mm-hmm.
I know people know him from Mandalorian. I know him from Last of Us.
I know him from you.
You know? Oh, it's from you? Oh, from me.
From you.
Oh, I thought you meant the show. I'm sorry.
No, dude. I learned about him when you started raging about this.
Okay. Well, we love him. Pedro Pascal's been around a long time. Yeah. So long. He was in season 4, episode 1 of Buffy.
Oh shit! Oh well, we did talk about this. Like, I feel like he's like one of these people that I know and I recognize him absolutely, but like that connection just wasn't there.
It's he's a man, so he gets to hit his peak in his late 40s, which I'm grateful for. I just wish women could do that too more often.
Well, according to Don Lemon, they're past their prime.
Sorry, my bad, Don.
No. Yeah. Sorry, Don. Mr. Lemon.
But so Pedro is lighting the internet on fire, especially with his interviews. And he was recently kind of declared the daddy of the internet daddy. And what happened with that is he was, doing all the promotional tours for Mandalorian and Last of Us. And he did a interview with Vanity Fair and got exposed to like fan cams. Mm-hmm. Where he then was asked, what's his feeling about being the internet's daddy? This was a revelation to him. He had to have the concept of it explained. And he very famously said in the clip,
"But daddy is a state of mind, you know what I'm saying? I'm your daddy."
And he's charming as hell. I get it. This in turn, though, because he's in the public eye right now, he's under a bit of a parasocial microscope. And what that is, his fans, people who are watching the interviews, feel like they can relate to him. Mm-hmm. He's so likable that you feel like you know him. And because of that, people are really prescribing a lot of personality traits and attributes to him. And it puts a lot of pressure on an individual to live like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's been very accommodating. I've watched a few interviews with him, and he's definitely leaned into the internet daddy thing. Mm-hmm. More recently, it seems that, it's worn off for him. Okay. It's not as entertaining anymore. And
more recently, getting a bit old.
A little bit. He doesn't want to indulge in it anymore. He's been a really good sport. He's played along.
Yeah.
Now he's tired, and I totally understand. And on the red carpet this month.
Out-trooped.
Yeah. Beginning of March, he was on the red carpet where someone handed him a phone full of, sexy tweets for him to read. People basically like sharing very, very detailed sexual fantasies with Pedro Pascal on the internet. And it's very dehumanizing.
If it was a woman.
We'll get to that, KB. We'll get to it. But yeah, he basically took a read, chuckled a little bit, handed the phone back, and he said thank you. And, rejected reading it out loud. And I think that's completely reasonable. What I found interesting and why I ended up talking to you about it was seeing the internet light on fire, talking about his right to privacy, his right to a little more professionalism from both the fan and the interviewer side of things. And I just sat there wondering, of course, that's really important and he shouldn't be made to feel uncomfortable. But where's all this outrage when we see it happen to a woman?
Yeah. I guess we're looking at yet another double standard, huh?
Yeah. We just talked about Pamela Anderson.
We did.
Yeah.
I think this is a great example of someone taking some agency, and I commend that. I also think, going back to his original embracing of it, I'm a people pleaser. Like, if someone's like says something mildly offensive that I just don't like, but I know that it's not ill-intentioned.
Yeah.
I'm going along with it. Like, I'm in it. I'm in it, and I will validate what everyone's saying because I just don't. I'm cool with it. So I get it. It's his job. And like the last thing you also want to do is be that celebrity that rejects their fans or rejects the parasocial relationship because that means something to someone and it is a currency.
Yeah. And he's at work, right? He has to present himself a certain way. So he can't get mad off the bat or anything like that. Yeah. That would be a problem, not just with the fans, but with the paychecks that he gets to go around doing these promotional tours.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. There's consequences all around, and you're put into the situation, everyone's going to see how you react and how you deal with it, and bringing it to workplaces. So these comments happening in his workplace, like let's look at it if you were in a job interview, you know, and people were blowing people up this way, and you think, oh, well, like that doesn't really happen. For women, it does.
Yeah.
For women, it does. We're
Constantly.
always commented on our looks or something like this. It can be someone else or, you know, like a woman even making these things. But the thing is, like, why is this narrative a part of the professional sphere?
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to be obsessed with it? And I see it with like a lot of male celebrities nowadays, even that, not like I can think of any names, but like they're kind of like just treated a bit like Harry Styles,
Justin Bieber, I was going to say. I'm not saying I'm a believer at all.
I've never believed.
No,
but
no, neither have
I can have empathy.
I will say, yeah, he's close in my age. And so I've been very aware for a long, long time of how he's been treated.
Yeah.
You know, the whole like, let's kill Justin Bieber so we can get Tupac back. And it's like, you know, he's 16.
So there was a clip circulating a couple of weeks ago with Jenny McCarthy giving Justin an award on stage.
Yeah.
And she like essentially grabbed him and sort of like kissed him very inappropriately.
Ah, that's right. Yes. And that's going on fire right now. That's right.
Yeah. And the thing is, afterwards, she also gave post-interview.
I did grab his butt. I'm single. But I think that's cougar rape.
And made a lot of comments about being a cougar and yada, yada, yada.
People have talked about his virginity before. I mean, it's so invasive and so wrong. And this is a kid, you know?
Yes. However, and what we're talking about the men now, and you raised this point when you first brought it up with me, and that is, why can society see this so easily when it's examples of men experiencing it? Why is the reaction and the defense of these individuals, rightly so, so much quicker and so much less divisive than if it was a woman or anyone that, you know, isn't a white man?
Yeah, basically.
Essentially. So I think that's very interesting. You also brought up, when all of this was happening, the comparison of Scarlett Johansson.
Right. So, I mean, that was the first thing I thought about when I saw this stuff going on with Pedro Pascal. I remembered a clip from her press tour doing one of the Avengers movies. And in multiple panels and interviews, she got asked by male journalists if she had to wear underwear underneath her Black Widow suit. And you can see there's one clip especially where she's sitting next to Jeremy Renner, I think. And he just looks like he's had enough as well. Because she just is like, what is this question? Why? And she's like, I'll leave it up to your imagination. It's so sick.
We got to roll that.
We're going to roll it right now.
Now, were you able to wear undergarments?
You're like the fifth person that's asking.
Well, no, because
what is going on? Since when did people start asking each other about in interviews about their underwear?
No, because it is such a skin tight.
I'll leave it up to your imagination.
Oh, see,
okay?
is that
whatever you feel like I should be wearing or not wearing under that costume?
This is not a.
Is what
is it inappropriate
to ask somebody what kind of underpants they wear?
I didn't ask you what kind.
You just asked me if I was wearing any.
Gross. I mean, it's just feral. It's really feral.
She's someone who's been able to carry multiple different movies. A respected actor who's been around for 20 plus years and is a heavy hitter in that cast, honestly.
Really?
Like, she's not nobody in there.
No. She's a heavy hitter.
And then to see the stark contrast between her male counterparts and the very serious questions they get asked versus everything with her just gets boiled down to her appearance. Her suit, how does she stay in shape? What does she wear under it? What do you think about the fashion when she's worn the same thing for this movie franchise for a decade? Gets a little tired.
Yeah, and I think it's full circle as well, because you brought up from a previous episode Pamela Anderson. We also talked about Sally Ride, the NASA person who was going up into space, the questions that they were asked. And it just feels like, yes, we could be talking about celebrity culture and celebrities in their workplace, and it's a totally different kind of environment. But I think that space reflects society incredibly well.
Yeah.
And on a like weekly basis, I would say, to like average it out across the year, I hear comments from women, especially in workplaces, with just these little comments, like these tiny little things that just invalidate them.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like to walk into a room as a professional person or to do something, you know, with purpose and immediately be reduced to what you're wearing, how you say something, not what you're saying, or any myriad of tropes that you can be taken to task for.
Yeah. No, and I think also what's relatable with the Pedro Pascal thing for me, and it's definitely not just, I can project it onto myself as a bartender or former bartender, where what he did is just like when I have some drunk idiot hitting on me and I just smile and I want the moment to pass by. And maybe it passes by, or maybe I've now given some sort of indication that it's okay to persist with this behavior.
Yeah.
And then it always reaches a point where I'm fed up.
Yes.
And where I then have to underline to them and break this sort of escapism fantasy and be like, hey,
yeah,
that was part of my job.
Yeah.
To be nice to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We've all got to be nice at work. And
Yeah.
when you receive shit, like if someone said that stuff to us on the street, I mean,
that happened to me last week on the train.
Yeah,
where,
dude.
you know, 1 second I'm just trying to get this drunk guy to stop talking to me and by saying hi, whatever, and minding my own business. But it suddenly became an open invitation.
That's the thing. You never know when you're giving that invitation. And I've had disagreements with my partner about like street harassment because like, if someone says anything to me, a man on the street, I don't bother anymore. I can't do this like in between, like just be nice, like just ignore it. Cause like if you ignore it, they just keep going if they really want it. So like I just go 0 to 100.
I know, it's so funny, but I think everyone should try doing that.
Honestly though, because at the end of the day, I'm saving myself time because in those situations, you know, they're just going to keep going until you're extreme with them. And I'm like, well, thank fuck I'm not at work because it's the only time and place that I can actually be like this. Yeah. And my question is, how can we improve this as a professional, like, realm of conduct? Like, don't comment on how people look. Don't overtly sexualize them. If something is a joke, like, don't beat it into the ground.
Yeah.
Like,
know when to stop.
Know
Please.
when to stop.
Yeah. No, because that is what ruins it, right? Like, he seemed to, in Pedro Pascal's instance, he seemed to enjoy it.
Like any woman diplomatically, like, thanks for complimenting my shirt or commenting on my outfit today.
It's nice to be nice. I love getting a sincere compliment. But it is just, it's boundaries. And it is that like, you know, and I get it, maybe not everyone reads social cues the same or anything like that, but it is then opening that space for someone to be like, hey, I know you're having a nice time. I'm not.
Maybe that's also the point is like, even in the workplace, and going back to some workplace savages that we have had, we really need to evolve workplaces, because that's where we're actually talking about, to the point where people respect and respond to the boundaries that are set. It shouldn't be a constant reiteration on the person who is setting the boundary to drive that home, because they will get frustrated, and then you'll just like what is it? No, I was going to say, I don't.
What were you going to say? Castrate?
Castrate? I don't know.
Yeah, you can say castrate.
Yeah. Anyway,
neuter.
Yeah, like we need to kind of like draw those very clear lines of, you know, if in this workplace, you know, someone says X or Y, don't do this. Because in the same way that the celebrity world reflects our workplaces, maybe it's about the changes we can make in our workplaces to be like, if someone communicates something to you and you do not respect it, they will go to management, and this is the process. Yeah. You know, celebrity culture is never going to have that.
Yeah. Now I guess we just wait and see, right? Because if the internet and the industry become aware of his discomfort, will they stop? I guess that'll be the real thing.
They don't in the case of women.
Exactly. Will it persist? Because then that's where we then have our answer, right? I'm not saying men don't get sexually harassed or objectified, but when we notice it, we stop.
Yeah. So now he's at this point. Yeah. Do they stop?
Even, and I talked to you about this as well a lot, Brendan Fraser. I've been really enjoying watching his career come back to life. I think it's horrible what happened to him. If you don't know, I mean, maybe 20 years ago, he had an incident with someone big at the Hollywood Foreign Press who basically molested him, touched him inappropriately, something like that. He was very open about it, and he basically got shunned from the industry. And here we are, 20 years later, he's getting, I could cry, I'm sorry, I'm so pathetic and emotional, but like it, you know, he deserves that. Like to be cast out that way, because that's some of the most isolating part of it, right? Is to be open about your experience. No one wants to hear it. No one wants to work with you anymore. You get blacklisted. 20 years later, you come back and you win a fucking Oscar. Like, good for you.
Yeah. And where is this going to go? I mean,
I just want to see like a female counterpart to Brendan Fraser, because off the top of my head, I can't really think of someone with a 20-year hiatus who got shunned and then comes back like that.
Well, no one's made the comeback, but I know all the ones that are shunned. I mean, Rose McGowan is an interesting example. Yeah. And, you know, every time we bring up examples, like we brought up Scarlett and Rose McGowan, no one's perfect, but you can always clearly differentiate the misogyny they experience from whatever mistakes that they're making. And these are pretty prime examples.
Completely.
Now you're right, Fanny. We're going to be watching like little hawks over this internet Pedro Pascal situation, and we're going to figure out
if it stops.
Yeah. And then we've got science and data.
Yeah.
Boom.
Love data.
All right. On that weird note, we will catch you next time for our pop culture workplace segment.
Ooh, catchy. Really catchy title.
We want to improve the conversations that people have about workplaces, but that can't be a one-sided conversation. Well, if we were white men, it fucking would be. Anyway, if you want to engage with Workplace Weekly, perhaps you have a question for our Workplace Savage segment, or you want to share your fuck you I quit story, or your look at my little workplace victory story, do send us a DM on social media via Instagram at handandheart.eu or Twitter via @h_and_h_media, or send an email to admin@handandheart.eu. We also have an anonymous submissions page on our website, handandheart.eu/workplaceweekly, where you can send a voice message or leave us a written submission. Get involved with us and engage. You never know, we might be able to help. All right, here we are for another segment that we love to call, that is called, we don't just love to call it this, it's just fucking called Workplace Savage. Welcome. Hi, Fanny.
Hi, Kate.
So what's on the agenda today for Workplace Savage?
We have yet another entry for Workplace Savage. This is from a woman, and it starts off with saying, hello, do you have any thoughts about imposter syndrome in young professionals 5 years into the job or perhaps below? We see this a lot in leadership as well, but seems like many young professionals feel like they are underqualified or under-delivering. Maybe this is an outcome of poor communication about expectations, but leaders might do this on purpose to keep people in line and wanting to prove themselves to be bigger, better, or faster.
Whew.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. It hits hard.
Nuanced.
Yeah.
Nuanced.
Have you ever felt imposter syndrome?
Oh, fuck, I didn't expect that.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm down. Like, it's just, no. And but let me just break that down. Yeah. Let me break that note down. I'm an autistic person. It's very weird, and maybe it's a little personal, but like, I am not fulfilled by other people's perceptions of me.
Yeah.
I don't perceive their perceptions of me. Like, I'm not the kind, I don't have that social element where like how someone perceives me is the first thing on my mind.
Yeah.
And that's why I can go around and be a little dick, and I really just don't care. Like, people see it as it can be like, oh, shamelessness or like very confident.
Yeah.
But it's actually not. It's just I'm not thinking about the consequences of how someone would perceive me. So when it comes to imposter syndrome, I've always just believed that because I'm autistic, I only put myself in situations where I have the expertise to deliver and where I really feel I know the topic.
Yeah.
So it's almost the opposite. Like, I'm more like, no, I am an expert. I've worked to be in this room.
Yeah.
And in fact, my thing is like opposite of imposter syndrome. I think a lot of people think I'm an imposter, maybe, because of X, Y, and Z. So that's my experience of it. But what about you? Imposter syndrome?
Oh, yeah. We've talked about it so many times. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I always have kind of like a bit of pangs of imposter syndrome. And I think it's from just kind of like my approach to work in general. Like, I can become very obsessive and manic about something. It'll be praised, and then I'll get a new, bigger assignment, and it scares the shit out of me. Yeah. Even if it goes well, I can sit there and internally freak out, being like, why am I here? Why am I here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that touches on the heart of this, because imposter syndrome conceptually began a lot from the female perspective, from a woman's perspective. But I think it was the gateway drug to the fact that this sense of not belonging, not being in the right place or the right thing to match your skill set, or feeling some sense of inadequacy is symptomatic more so of capitalism. And I think this person who wrote in touches on that a little bit with like keeping people in line, wanting to prove themselves bigger, better, and faster. Because really, when we recognize something being an imposter, we are acknowledging the hierarchy that exists. Like, you don't deserve to be at this level of the hierarchy. No matter what it is, job that you're doing or whatever, but you're recognizing the hierarchy and you're saying, oh, I shouldn't be in this band. I'm not meant to be here. And I do think that that is symptomatic of the conditioning people from my generation and your generation have experienced as we've gone through the educational system into our professional lives. And we know that managers frequently undermine people and frequently do try and make people feel inadequate.
And that could be through a variety of different ways, right?
Microaggressions,
sabotage,
backhanded compliments, you know, like, oh, you did such a good job, but, you know, or just whatever it is. It's like, oh, I love how you use that color, like whatever, or you feel it, right? You feel the inadequacy statement, no matter what the statement is. So it has long been a way for managers, particularly in corporate environments, but also I know in hospitality, to maintain and leverage the power dynamic.
Well, especially because I would say within hospitality, most people in management positions actually have very few qualifications for it other than working experience as a bartender, a chef, whatever.
I had a very interesting conversation with a woman once about imposter syndrome. And I raised the question at that time, and I don't know whether it's particularly relevant now, but is imposter syndrome a version of internalized shame in the same way like internalized misogyny can be, or like different things like that? Because are we taking these things on in order to perpetuate feelings and things within ourselves which maintain us in our society?
Only looking at my personal perception of it, for me, I think when I have the imposter syndrome, I think it's tied in with something that I've just had drilled into me, which is, I don't know if it must be the Danish law of Yanti, telling myself not to get too big for my britches. Deflate the ego a little bit. And I think that's what my imposter syndrome very often does. It's to keep me in check and my ego in check. And it runs wild. Not my ego, my imposter syndrome.
And it reminds me of a story from a workplace. I remember it was the last person that ever employed me, like as in the dynamic of like employment, which going back a fair while. And I asked them one day, I said, why don't you say thank you to anyone who works here? And he said, first of all, why would I thank them? They work for my business. And second of all, you've got to treat them like dogs. If you give them too much compliments, too much validation, they're not going to keep wanting it. And with like this was just a completely normal thing to say. And that to me kind of indicated very clearly how the power dynamic works in a person's mind like this. Because this is someone who has so much confidence. They've never questioned anything they've done in their life. Like they've never had a moment of self-doubt. And you can fucking tell, right? So if we juxtapose the Fanny that's like, could, you know, that be said to, or like you're working in that place and that's how your boss feels about you, with the actual person saying that thing, I think it becomes very clear what that dynamic really is. And what we have to do, the work we have to do, which sucks. We shouldn't have to do work to break this, but I think it's the same thing as any kind of work around politically driven things, because it ultimately is connected to something political. Capitalism, management, power dynamics, all of these different things. You have to find a way to untether yourself from those things. Maybe that's the best advice that I can give. If you're someone experiencing imposter syndrome, if that's what's happening for you, what can you do to cut that tether? Because is that something that really you should be taking on when you step back and you look at the constructs that are driving it into your head? Mm-hmm. Do you want that? Do you accept that? Can you just get rid of it overnight? No. Are you an idiot for experiencing it? No. But what is the next step? How do I work past this? How do I use this to make me better positioned to deal with this fucked up world?
Yeah. Well done.
All right.
Yeah.
Fanny, any other thoughts on imposter syndrome?
No, I mean, I think especially what you said last, of course, evaluating the external factors that might be leading you to feeling this way. But if it's like me, I think a lot of it is driven by yourself. Mm-hmm. And so that is something that you need to work and resolve on an individual level.
Yeah. And I don't think we're those people that are like, go and work on yourself, like open your chakras.
No, it's not like that. Yeah.
No, it's not at all. It's about being the most clarified version of yourself, not the strongest, not the best, just like the most clarified version of yourself that you feel like you can be as a professional.
Self-awareness, That's really all it is. Yeah. We love self-awareness.
Love a little bit of self-awareness. Yeah. Could name a few people who fucking don't.
Could use some, but yeah.
But we won't. We're going to end this Workplace Savage here and we'll catch everyone next time. But
absolutely.
Where can people send their questions if they have them?
So if you'd like to send us a question for our Workplace Savage segment, you have a few options. You could write us on Instagram. That's handandheart.eu. We also have a Twitter, H_and_H media. You can also send an email to admin@handandheart.eu. And we also have an anonymous submissions page on our website. That's at handandheart.eu/workplaceweekly. You also have the ability to send a voice message or leave us a written submission.
We would love that. We would love it. We love it. We love answering
Send
questions.
us your problems.
Send us your problems. Thanks, Fanny.
Thank you,
Catch
Kate.
us next time. Workplace Weekly was produced by Kate Bailey and Fanny Wandell for Hand and Heart Media, the publishing arm of Hand and Heart GmbH. You can follow Hand and Heart on Instagram via @handandheart.eu, via @h_and_h media. For any inquiries related to this broadcast, please email admin@handandheart.eu. Our music was composed and performed by Amanda and produced by Amanda with Kyle Startup. You can follow Amanda on Instagram or listen to their music on Spotify, Apple, or SoundCloud. If you love Amanda's music, please consider buying it from Bandcamp. Support indie, always. Our artwork was created by Nix Renton, a fantastic photographer and graphic designer, and you can find them in the links in the episode description. You can always find Workplace Weekly on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Vimeo, and basically wherever you get your podcasts. For those wanting an RSS feed, the link is in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. Hey you. Yeah, you. Listen up. Workplace Weekly is an entirely independent production, funded by the commercial activities of Hand and Heart. We do not run any membership or subscriber options, but we ask you that if you'd like to support our work, please share our work on socials. Tell your friends to listen to an episode and send them a link. And rate, review, and subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple. Maybe both. One post or one share or one review can make a huge difference. And if you would like to support us and appreciate the work we do, this is what we recommend you do to support us. Thank you so much for listening.